Hi, everybody, and welcome to Tim's NFL Fantasy Football Weekly Reports. We'll go over some stats from last week. We'll talk about some moves we think could be good this week, some moves we think could be bad this week, some situations that have taken some caused some issues around the NFL and in fantasy on fantasy football teams. Some injuries and maybe some things now where guys might be getting healthy. But first, I want to talk that this show is brought to you by CT Roofing and Power Wash, the official roofer of the Lake County Sentinel, and you can call them for a free quote. They can help you with an insurance claim. So call 440-278-0506 if you need a new roof or you need new siding or work on your deck or a power wash. But so let's get to fantasy football. We've got there's a lot going on. We got some guys coming back. We got some guys on the list who may not play. I just saw this like 10 minutes ago that Saquon Barkley is now questionable for this week. That's big. He anchors the running back position for a lot of teams, fantasy football wise. And if Saquon Barkley's out, that takes a lot of points away from certain teams. So I know I have him in one league, and it would severely hurt me, if he was out. I'm in a close matchup with a team that is undefeated in my one league where I have Barkley. So that would hurt me quite a bit. Hopefully it's just being cautious. They play on Friday in the Black Friday game on Amazon Prime. So that's where Barkley will be at this week. Eagles against the Bears, who I still don't believe in. I know, what are they, 8-3 now? 9-3. I still don't believe in them. I'm sorry, I don't. But they're going to be 500, that's for sure, aren't they? I'm still not sold on Caleb Williams. But so as far as injuries, we got looks like Joe Burrow's going to play this week for the Bengals. He'll make his return. And that's huge for them. I think they'll finally have their starting quarterback back, and that'll be on Thursday night. That'll be on the National Broadcast Company and Peacock, where the Bengals will go to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, and we'll see if. How he is. It could be some rust, but Joe Burrow is really good. Only problem for the Bengals is Joe Burrow cannot play defense, and the Bengals have a terrible defense. But that's good for fantasy owners, because what does that mean? That means the Bengals have to throw the ball a lot because they're going to give up points. So if you have Burrow and you've had him on the shelf, on the injured list, now you can activate him. And he's going to play this week. And if he's back to himself, he's going to get you a lot of points. Remember, Jamar Chase will be back this week. And he's going to be not too happy that he had to miss a game. So Joe Burrow could go off this week. The Ravens defense is good, but it's not that good, and it's not as good as it's been in the years past. So I think Burrow could have a heck of a week this week. some other injuries at the quarterback position. Baker Mayfield, he may play this week. He may not. He got injured last Sunday night when the Rams completely and totally dismantled and embarrassed the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday Night Football. They embarrassed them. As a Bucs fan, I felt like I had gone back 30 years, 40 years to when Lehman Bennett was the head coach. It was a disgusting effort by Tampa Bay. Absolutely disgusting. So, we don't know if you're going to have Baker Mayfield. If you have Mayfield, you might want to pick up Teddy Bridgewater if you can, just in case. I think that I'm sorry. Oh, my goodness. If Mayfield can play, I think he will. But if he's going to hurt the team, hopefully the Buccaneers will be smarter than the Cleveland Browns were, and they won't let him play if he's not healthy. I don't think the Buccaneers are as dumb and as ignorant, moronic, and imbecilic as the Cleveland Browns with their handling of Mayfield, allowing him to make the decision when he was injured and then releasing him or trading him and acting like it was his fault. Tampa Bay is not that stupid. This organization, this general manager and front office has won Super Bowls. So they're not stupid. If Mayfield's not ready to go, they won't let him play. But I'm hoping he is ready to go, and I'm hoping he bounces back. They're playing the Cardinals at 1:00 on Sunday. So I think if Mayfield plays, he'll have a good game. But if you have another option this week, you might want to go with that because you never know what could happen. You know what I mean? Hey, and you might want to go with Jacoby Brissett because he's playing against the Tampa defense. And let me tell you, they stink. So I'm telling you this, people, for the rest of the year, if you have a quarterback who's playing Tampa Bay's defense, pick him up or play him because he's going to torch him, because that's what happens every single week. Tampa's defense gets torched. If you have their defense, drop them immediately. Run the other way. Get rid of them. But if you have players who are playing them, offensive players who are playing them, and it's a decision, should I start them or should I start them? Jesus, start the player who's playing the Buccaneers defense because there's a damn good chance he's going to get a lot of points for you because they stink. Let's move on. Lamar Jackson is questionable. That's a Thursday night affair also. I'm playing the Bengals. We already talked about Saquon Barkley, or as I like to refer to him, Sake, because he's just good. But Bucky Irving could play this week for Tampa Bay. I guess he could have played last week, but they held him out. I mean, there was no reason to play him last week. They were going to get their heads beat in by the Rams anyway because their defense couldn't stop their mom. So hopefully he's going to play this week. I hope so. He's supposedly had a good week of practice. He had a good week of practice last week, I guess. So hopefully he's going to play. Chris Godwin returned last week for Tampa Bay, and he should get more targets this week. So that those are some options for you. I mean, my two of the fantasy leagues I have Irving in, my teams went south as soon as he got hurt. So hopefully he can come back and be what he was before. We'll see. But I see that, I was covering a Cleveland Cavaliers game in the 4 o'clock window on Sunday. So I got to watch the game. The Cavs game did not start till 6. So I got to watch part of the Cleveland Browns and Las Vegas Raiders game. And I'm going to just be honest with you here. Shirer Sanders had 2 good passes, and they were real good. But there wasn't much after that. And he threw an interception. So do I dislike Shirer Sanders? No, I do not. I do not. It would be good if he did well. I would not play him this week against the 49ers defense, though. That's my advice to you. If you have Shirer Sanders, do not play him this week against the San Francisco 49ers. I don't think it's going to go well. I don't. The weather could be bad too Sunday. So it could be a game where teams run more. So, but, and I think against the 49ers defense, he's going to be running for his life. Shirer Sanders Sunday could look like Archie Manning did in the 70s playing for the Saints, running for his life, just like Dylan Gabriel did. He ran for his life too. I got nothing against this kid. I'm not going to hate this kid just because his dad is kind of a jerk. No, I'm not going to root against him. And I'm definitely not going to root against him because of some of the reasons some people do. And we know why they do. And we also know why some people rooted against Dylan Gabriel. So, but I don't even think, is it really even worth talking that much on a fantasy football show about a quarterback who's not going to produce you a lot of points? No. So we're going to be done with that right now. We're done with that. As I've said in past weeks, and I'm going to give the advice again, if you have punt return, if punt return yards and kick return yards count in your league for players, you want to pick up defensive players who return kicks. You want to pick up that 4th string running back who doesn't do anything but return kicks because he's going to get you more points than your regular running back sometimes. So I think people forget about that a lot. But there's been some movement with kickers. I saw today that, oh gosh, trying to think who it was. They tried out Cade York and Justin Tucker, and they kept York. Can't remember what team that was. But I think that, we know why they didn't keep Justin Tucker. Who's going to keep him? Who's going to keep him? What team wants to sign him? And he's not what he was. He wasn't that good last year with the Ravens. So I think he's just done. He might as well just retire now. He's ruined his career. He's ruined his life. Doing a bunch of terrible things to women. He's done. And he should be done. So Cade York is back he's on a practice squad right now, but it'll probably be elevated for the weekend. That's usually how it goes. But let's get started with the top 10. We'll list them 1 to 10. We have Jalen Hurts. He had 95.86. Then Dak Prescott. Then Jameis Winston. He'll do this for you once in a while. Then Jameis Winston. Shakira Waddle. Or Waddle. I think Waddle, you mean. I'd go with Waddle this week. I actually had that dilemma in one of my leagues, and I went with Waddle. So if you fail, I'm going to fail. So so we got Hurts, Prescott, Winston, Mahomes, Cam Ward, Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, Jacoby Brissett, Caleb Williams, and Daniel Jones. That's the top 10 in the High Point League for quarterbacks. The top 10 in the Low Point Leagues for quarterbacks from week 12 are as follows. Jameis Winston, 32.24. So if you picked him up in a Low Point League and started him, you probably won your league. So Jameis Winston, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Cam Ward. I think this is the first time Cam Ward's had a week where he could finish in the top 10. Matthew Stafford, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence, Jacoby Brissett, Jared Goff, and Patrick Mahomes. So that's the top 10 in the Low Point League for quarterbacks. So let's get to receivers now. Oh, who else is number one? Boy, I'm stunned. I'm stunned that it's Jackson Smith and Jigma in the High Point Leagues. 97.30 points. You're hoping to get 30, maybe 40 from a receiver. 97.30 points for Jack Smith and Jigma. Shamir Dickey, Tennessee, 80.9. He was 2. Darnell Mooney was 3. Wendell Robinson was 4. Rashee Rice was 5. George Pickens was 6. Greg Dortch was 7th. Amon-Ra St. Brown was 8th. Kevontae Turpin was 9th. And then Parker Washington was 10th. So that's, a lot of usual suspects there in the receiver room. So the low points, of course, Jackson Smith and Jigma, 29.12. That wins you a week. Wendell Robinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, George Pickens, DJ Moore, Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Shamir Dickey, Dyke. I don't know how the heck you say it. I'm sorry. Rashee Rice, Darnell Mooney, and Parker Washington. Again, those are your top receivers. Those were your top 10 receivers for the week. But as I told you, and I've said in the past, just because a guy did good one week does not mean he'll do good on the next week, especially if he's a guy that hasn't had sustained success. He could be a breakout guy and he might have sustained success then. But a lot of times you don't know because it just happens. Oh, here we go. Looks like Lamar Jackson's status has now improved from questionable to healthy. So he'll be playing this week, which is good because I have him in 2 leagues and I need him to perform well. Yes, I do. I am not afraid to admit that. We've got top 10 running backs in the High Point Leagues. Jamar Gibbs, 184.9 last week. OMG. Yeah. James Cook, the third, was second. Dylan Sampson for Cleveland was third. He got my son 72.20 points in the Wekly Fantasy Football League. Emmanuel Wilson was 4th. Christian McCaffrey was 5th. Kareem Hunt was 6th. Tyrone Tracy was 6th. 7th was Travis Etienne. 8th was Derrick Henry. 9th was Ray Davis. And 10th, which is pretty good against a good defense, Ashton Genty was 10th. He got 53 points in a high point. That's pretty good against a Browns defense. It's pretty good. Well, not that's pretty good. It's really good. So the low point league running backs, of course, Jamar Gibbs is number one, 44.40 points. Gosh, I'm glad I didn't play that guy. That had him. Jamar Gibbs. Emmanuel Wilson, Green Bay. Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, James Cook III, Travis Etienne, Kareem Hunt, Ashton Genty, Quinshon Junkins. I like him. I still like him. And Dylan Sampson for Cleveland. Almost called him Dylan. Dylan Sampson for Cleveland. So you got two running backs for Cleveland, 9 and 10. And for a second there, when he had a good play on Sunday, my son said, Sampson might be better than Junkins. Yeah, I don't think so, but he might be good too. I'm old enough to remember when the Browns had two good running backs in the backfield. Mike Pruitt and Greg Pruitt, and then Ernest Biner and Kevin Mack. Rico for CD. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'd make that trade, Matt. No. Are you talking CD Lamb? Are you talking CD? So you're getting CD Lamb? Do you need a receiver? Yeah, okay, then I'd do it. Yeah. Make that trade then. Yeah, that's a good trade then. If you need a running back or if you need a receiver and you have a running back you could give up, why not do it? Yeah, go ahead and do it. So there we got through the running backs, right? We got through the running backs in the low point leagues. Let's go to the tight ends. Tight ends in the high point leagues first. Hunter Henry, number one for this week. 33.50. Yeah, that's pretty good. Brenton Strange, 2. Trey McBride, 3. Colston Loveland, 4. Greg Kittle, 5. Taysom Hill, 6. Colby Parkinson, 5. 6. No, 7. Oh, my God. Theo Johnson, 8. Jake Ferguson, 9. And Brock Bowers, 10. Let me tell you something. I'm lucky in my high point league. I was having trouble with finding tight ends. You got to look. Sometimes you got to look. Sometimes you got to pick guys up and then you drop them. Sometimes you maybe figure out a trade to make. Nothing's wrong with trading for a tight end, especially if it's a position that's hurting you each week. If you're losing in close weeks and your tight ends aren't performing, well, there's your issue right there. It might get you over a week. So I traded a few weeks back. I traded Michael Penix. People get mad at me in my league, Wekly Fantasy Football. I hoard quarterbacks. I have for a decade. And I had Michael Penix on the bench. I didn't play him at all this year. I just don't play him. I didn't need to play him. I didn't play Baker Mayfield a lot. Herbert and Mahomes are my two quarterbacks that I play most of the time. So a friend of mine who's in the league texted me about trading a quarterback. So I was like, okay, well, since Jaden Daniels is hurt, you need a quarterback. How about you trade me Trey McBride and Jaden Daniels, and I'll give you the healthy Michael Penix. And we made the trade. And it has not worked out well for my friend. But for me, it has worked out well because considering Jaden Daniels is practicing again now and maybe back soon. And even if he's not, he'll be back next year. And I got Trey McBride. My tight ends now are Greg Kittle and Trey McBride. These are the kind of moves you have to make, especially if you're in a keeper league, a long-term league. You want to make moves that are going to benefit you in the future. Okay? That's what you have to do. You have if it's a long-term keeper league, you've got to think about the future. You don't want to make a move for that week or something because it's going to hurt you. If you make a quick move just for that week, chances are if your team's good, you can take the loss of 1 week and still make the playoffs. If it's in the playoffs, usually trades can't be made after the playoffs. By the time playoffs start in fantasy leagues, 6-7. So start 2, Gettert, Kittle, Gadsden. What do you think? God. Whoa. Well, who are the Eagles playing? The Eagles are playing the Bears. The Bears are pretty good defense. I'm going with Kittle and Gadsden. I would go with Kittle and Gadsden in that. I definitely would go with Kittle and Gadsden. Yeah. Go with them, I think. That's who I would go with. But let's look at the low points leagues for tight ends last week. We had Hunter Henry leading everybody with 17.5. Yeah, no problem, Ben C. I hope it works out for you. Hunter Henry, Colston Loveland was second. Colby Parkinson was third. Brenton Strange was fourth. Pat Freiermuth, who the Steelers fans love, was fifth. And he's good. He's really good. Trey McBride, sixth. George Kittle, seventh. Theo Johnson, eighth. Drew Ogletree, ninth. And Brevin Spanford was 10th for Dallas. But he only got 6.4 points. So it wasn't a good week for tight ends. It just wasn't. Let's admit that. Okay. Let's admit that. But now we're going to go to kickers. Let's go to kickers. And let's see who we got. Last week, high point kickers. This is crazy. And I have him. I believe I have him in a high point league, but not this league. I'll tell you what, though. Cam Little, Jacksonville Jaguars. Number 1, 130 points last week. That'll win you a week. Zane Gonzalez also at 130. Evan McPherson was third. Andy Borongales, fourth. Harrison Mevis, fifth. Jake Bates, sixth. They got me 100 points. Wow. Okay. Will Richard, seventh. Andre Smite, again in the top 10. The guy Browns fans wanted to hang in public square after week 1, again in the top 10. Andre Smite, or Smith, I still can't say his name right. And Jason Myers, he was 10th. So, that, oh boy, Browns fans showing once again how smart they are. But kickers in low point leagues, folks. We got Andy Borregales. He got 18 points in the low point leagues, which is good for a kicker. Harrison Butker, Zane Gonzalez, Cam Little, Harrison Mevis, Jason Myers, Tommy Fairbairn, Evan McPherson, Brandon McManus, and Jake Bates. So there's a huge difference between the low point leagues and the high point leagues in kickers. Huge difference. They just don't matter as much in the low point leagues. Kickers really don't matter. They don't matter a lot at all. Of course, team defenses don't matter as much in low point leagues. That's why I think it's boring, the low point leagues. I'd rather be in a high point league. I really would. I really would rather be in a high point league. I'm doing well in low point leagues this year, though, for the first time in my life. So I usually do very well in high point leagues and don't do so well in low point. This year, I'm doing better in low point leagues. Struggling a little in my the Wekly Fantasy Football League. It's a high point league. I've won the last 4 championships, but right now I'm not even in the playoffs. I'm kind of having a Chiefs type year, where it's been a struggle. I was under 500. I got to 500. I actually got to 1 game over 500. Then I lost by a small amount of points this week, by less than 30. Let's see what we got with the high point defenses. We've got Cleveland was the top high point defense this week. 135.40. Los Angeles, boy, what a shock. The Rams were second. Atlanta was third. Green Bay was fourth. Houston was fifth. Arizona was sixth. Buffalo was seventh. New Orleans was eighth. And ninth was Las Vegas against the Browns. And then Tennessee was 10th. So that's the low point league leaders on defense, the team defense. Here's the low point league. Green Bay, number 1. Los Angeles Rams, number 2. Arizona, number 3. Atlanta Falcons, 4. Browns, 5th. Sacks don't really account much in those low point leagues, so that would be why that Browns were much lower there. Houston, 6th. New Orleans, 7th. Baltimore, 8th. Patriots, 9th. And Bengals, 10th. Bengals. How did they manage to get in the top 10 in defense when they're just disgusting defensive-wise? But they did. Defensive players, individual defensive players. We had a question last week about who an individual player someone should pick up. You had to pick up an individual player. And so this week's leaders and individuals, these are in high point leagues. Low point leagues don't have individual defensive players. But number 1, Kobe Durant. Oh, what a surprise. Los Angeles Rams. In this league I'm in, or the Wekly League, he qualifies as a defensive back and a cornerback. 84 points. Then Myles Garrett was second. Geno Stone, safety, was third. Justin Reed, safety, was fourth. Marcus Jones, defensive back, cornerback, was fifth. Montez Sweat, sixth. Max Crosby was seventh. Jermaine Pratt was eighth. Caleb Bullock was ninth. And Emmanuel Forbes Jr. from the Rams was 10th. And let me tell you something. You could have picked any player from the Rams this weekend and they would have got you points on defense because they stink. Start Nico, Adams, Pickens, Rice. You can start 4 receivers. Oh, start 2. I'm sorry, start 2. Boy, I guess I can't read. Pickens, Rice. I'm going Pickens, Rice. I have no confidence in Nico anymore. And Adams, I'm not sure about him either. So yeah, I'm going with Pickens and Rice. Rice seems to be killing it. And the Chiefs are in it's time to win every game mode. So offensive players will be good pickups if they're on the Chiefs. The Chiefs pretty much have to win every game the rest of the way. They really do. So I think picking up Chiefs players, is a good move right now. So, yeah, that's who I would start. Pickens and Rice. Who are the boys playing this week? Who are the Cowboys playing? The Cowboys are playing. Oh, yeah, that's right. Thursday, they're playing Kansas City. Yeah, so you might get it. You might, have both your guys in the same game early. So I would definitely go with Pickens and Rice. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game in the 4:30 window on Thursday. And, I definitely would go with Pickens and Rice. A couple of guys who aren't really nice people. They're not really, not the best human beings. But I guess if we're looking for fantasy football wins, there are 2 guys you probably should go with this week. So that's what I would do, Marco. That's what I would do. I think that these short weeks sometimes too are difficult. There's 4 games that teams that have a short week this week. That's 8 teams. But then they will have rest after this, which is good. But sometimes guys don't perform in these short windows. It's I've seen it in the past. So, but like I said, I'm sorry, yawning like crazy tonight. I don't understand it. I didn't have enough activity today, maybe. I know when I have days where I have a lot of activity, I don't yawn. Today I didn't have a lot of activity. Got off to a lousy start. So I didn't have as much activity. So I'm yawning, which I hate. I'm definitely not bored doing this show. I love doing this show. I love talking fantasy sports with people. But I just hope that if I gave some advice this week, I hope it was good advice. I hate giving bad advice to people. You know what I mean? I really do. I like giving good advice. Because I'll think about it during games. I will. When something happens, I'll be like, oh, crap, I told them to pick him up, and he just threw a pick 6, or something like that. I told them to play him today, and he didn't catch one ball today. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I feel bad. I want to be right. I want to be right. I want to help people out, and hope that they, benefit from my predictions or my advice. You know what I mean? The fact that you join the show, that you watch the show, means that you must think I know something, which is amazing to me. Because I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you this. I have wanted to be a host of a sports show. People that went to elementary school with me know this. I have wanted to be the host of a sports show pretty much my entire life. I think it was probably like 3rd or 4th grade where I wanted to be, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to cover sports. I wanted to talk about sports I'd bring a tape recorder, a cassette tape recorder out on the playground. And I'd sit in the corner, this corner area we had on the playground. And guys would come over and they'd ask me questions. And I would give like my predictions for the NFL week, and things like that. We had a great talk show host in Cleveland. His name was Pete Franklin. And on Fridays, he would give his NFL picks. Back then, there were no Thursday night games. He'd give his NFL picks on Friday. Pigskin Pete predicts. So on Friday, I, on the playground, would give my predictions. Tampa Tim predicts. That's how long I've been a Bucs fan. A long, long time. Yep, a long time. I've wagered money one time in my life. And I believe it was sixth grade. It was sixth grade. And I can't remember who I bet. The Buccaneers lost in the NFC Championship game, and they were playing the Steelers in the Super Bowl. And I bet that the Steelers, that the Rams would beat the Steelers. And I bet 75 cents. And I lost. The Rams did not win. They beat the Steelers. And I have never voted. I vote every year. I have never placed a money wager again in my life. I figured I started out that bad. I guess it could only get better, right? But I never bet again. I'd rather play fantasy football than bet. I would. I'd rather do that. So I'm really glad that everybody joins me on this show. I take fantasy football seriously. Fantasy sports seriously. One of these weeks, maybe we'll talk about the NBA. I'm in 2 NBA leagues. I'm in 2 NHL leagues. I think I was in 6 baseball leagues this past year. Baseball is my favorite sport. Baseball, I think I'm the most knowledgeable about. Yet I do the worst. That's my worst sport for fantasy sports. I think I overthink it. So, but I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving. I hope everybody does. I think we're going to get out of here now. We haven't had a lot of questions tonight. We had a few. We haven't had a lot, though. But, here's Lamar. I have Lamar and Burrow. What's the best running back you think I can get for one of them? Oh, boy. I mean, you got to shoot high, right? You shoot high. Who is the best running back that you think? Who is the best running back that you think, Cooper? Whoever that is, then do it. Try to make that trade. Propose that trade. Either Burrow or Jackson. If you're going to trade one of them, get the best running back you can. Because let's be honest, good quarterbacks like those two, they get more points than running backs. Okay? I'm not sure if I would trade a quarterback of them I'm not sure you can get a running back that can get you as many points as Lamar Jackson or Joe Burrow. Pretty much you can't. So I might want to ask for maybe a tight end too, or somebody like that, maybe a team defense. You got to get equal point value. You can't be giving up points when you're making a trade. That's why I don't make very many trades. I want to get equal or more points for my trade. I'm a hard trader. I probably turn down 10 out of 11 trades that are proposed to me. So, I mean, can you get Saquon Barkley for one of those two? Seriously, can you? If you can, then probably do it, right? I don't know. Can you get Jamar Gibbs for one of those two? Try it. Can you get Christian McCaffrey for one of those two? I mean, those would be the guys that I'd go after right now. If I was going to make that trade, Barkley, Gibbs, McCaffrey. If you don't need one of those quarterbacks, Gibbs, McCaffrey, or Barkley. That's it. That's what I'm going after right there. I would have put Bucky Irving in there, but he's not healthy right now, so I don't know. If you're a keeper league, Quinshon Judkins, you probably could too, but his future being a Brown is so uncertain because he's a Brown. I would ask for something else too. But that's it, I think, tonight, folks. I hope that helps you out, Cooper. I hope that you make the right trade there. But don't undersell. Don't you get less than you're giving up ever. Don't ever do that in a fantasy trade. Don't ever give up less than you're getting. Never. You don't have to make the trade. Sometimes the trade not made is the better trade. So, until next week on the Fantasy Show, I'm Tim Shirer. We will have our NFL prediction show tomorrow night at 6:30. We'll be streaming a day early this week because of Thanksgiving holiday. And I hope you guys will join us there. It's a fun show. Two idiots and a guest make NFL predictions. So maybe we'll see some of you there. And, I answer fantasy questions as we go on that too. So, but I hope everybody has a good night. It's been great tonight. And you guys take care of yourself and have a great Thanksgiving.